Like, world famous podcaster Joe Rogan, he knows about steroids, TRT therapy, hormones, bone structure. He talks about this, like going through puberty, like the skeletal structure of someone, even at lower levels of T. There's a huge advantage there. That bicycle rider that constantly wins, that was like had no business. Like, you've seen this time and time again. Transgender athletes dominating the field. It's a joke. It's a joke. Where is the protection for biological women? What is the difference between men and women at this point? There isn't. If you include the transgender nature of women and biological women, then there is no such thing as protections for women, because that is inclusive of the very same traits as a biological male. That's the problem. You're going to tell me the difference between a woman and a transgender woman is a hormone level that happens, that changes at a certain point, nothing else? Never mind the fact that they were born a certain way? This goes to some of the work that's been done at the pediatric level that says that if a child were to transition and wants to reverse, there's no long-term damage. That you can start puberty again later on. And that is very, very sketchy. Very, very sketchy. There's tons of people, a lot of people, that have regretted transitioning. The fact that we can throw any of our daughter's boyfriends into jail as statutory rape, but that very same daughter at the age of 5 can throw the parent in jail for not agreeing with them that they should be a boy, is crazy. Consent, self-determination, it's very, very bizarre. Why? The only reason to appease the wants of children at these ages is for the sake of passability, for blocking puberty so that their lives, for an aesthetic purpose, is equal. But if the whole idea is that the way they look has nothing to do with who they are, why do that in the first place? That their body is wrong and they are still a woman. Why is there a need to have the changes? Why can't they just call themselves a woman? Well, because for passability, because of the aesthetic traits that postmodernists argue do not exist. You're born as nothing. There's no such thing. That's not true. You are born at this and this, and you do have these certain attributes that are more male or more female. And you're basically assigning biased, gender-specific elements, tits, long hair, to something that allegedly is not what makes a woman, to appease a social construct that you want to destroy in its infancy, which is that women don't mean long-legged, tall, slender, boobed, whatever, supermodel looking women. There's tons of different varieties, but you're still appeasing this sociological superficiality, and you're doing it with children. I wanted to be a cowboy. I wanted to go to Harvard to be an investment banker, I think at 12. It's amazing how these things change and become more practical. I saw that movie about going through America or something like the Jonathan Taylor Thomas, maybe they travel wild America, and I wanted to do that and live abroad. I saw that Emil Hirsch movie again. I wanted to go out into the wild, and same thing later on in life. That was a similar trait that I had when I was younger, though I don't think I would have fared well as a child in the wilderness by myself. At the same token, you're not really giving children. This is all about children. It's the only thing I worry about. Adults can do whatever the hell they want. You're not letting them make mistakes. You're saying that that their idea of change can change back later on, but you're enforcing this protocol with hormones, external drugs, to reinforce one thought, and the antithesis of that, or the ability to change their mind, is not supported by anyone, including pediatricians now that are pro-transgender youth treatment. It's very biased. And then the women, which because of these inherent physical detriments, the bias, societal norms of women are, get pregnant, they don't work as hard, whatever. All these things, the whole idea of like, women are maternal, they should stay at home, they don't, you're throwing it all out. All the things that Title IX is designed to do to protect women from employers that are biased, that want these testosterone pumped up people that are men, and that they're better workers, and that you should be prejudiced against female workers. Now, biological men that declare themselves women, you're throwing this. So it's an oversimplification for the sake of someone that I believe transgenderism is real, and I support the transgender community. And I feel like Caitlyn Jenner, the fact that she agrees with this, as crazy as she might be, if you don't agree with her politics as a Republican or conservative transgender person, you can at least appreciate that it's a child's view that they want X, Y, and Z. They are influenced all the time from the media, from schools, from their friends, start using cuss words. The idea that they could have a opinion that's morphed through social media, because more and more kids are getting cell phones, stuff like that. It's becoming part of our society where it's almost like detrimental to them. They're at a disadvantage socially, and that they're told this is normal and acceptable and healthy, almost better. Like the idea of cisgender being not ideal, and they want to feel special, so then they say, "I want to be a boy." Do you see how dangerous that is? That's my only concern. It undermines basically that, and it undermines the very essence of what it's like to be a woman, the protections that Title IX originally afforded to them, that they're the softer sex. Completely undermines that. At the sports level, it's absurd. That bike riding woman that's like the writer, and she might be a teacher also, is from North Carolina, that crushes people constantly. She wasn't winning any of the men's races. Now she wins all these races and broken world records or something like that. Oh, well, that's that's amazing. She's the greatest woman ever. Well, she wasn't born a woman. No asterisk there. Why is this so hard? Why do you have to be labeled a bigot to protect children? My intentions are good. If you disagree with me, fine, but don't call me a bigot. That's ridiculous. My intention is to protect kids from my family. My childhood was not great. And one of the things I told my dad when I was really young, that I wanted to be a child psychiatrist. Imagine why I wanted that. Because of all the child psychiatrists that were helping me with my parents fighting and the abusive stuff that happened there. And I wanted to help kids because I knew how much it made me feel good to have these people there for me, to support me, that were just strangers. And that I wanted to do the same thing and help kids. My dad's like, "Oh, you have a business mind." It made me cry. He said, "Oh, don't, you should be a businessman. That's stupid." That's what he said. And then my stepbrother said, "What the hell's wrong with you?" to my dad. And it was abundantly clear to them why I said what I said. And my dad was completely oblivious to it. The influences of that choice came from bad things that happened to me. And my wanting to make sure that those bad things don't happen to someone else. And by the fact that I didn't become a child psychiatrist, I did not let those bad things define me, which isn't necessarily bad or good. But imagine the same circumstance of wanting to be something else because I want to escape the negative things that are going on in my life as a man or a woman, as a minor, only to find that I can't escape the choice I made because I've been transformed, my thoughts, my entire body, by external exogenous hormones to achieve the very end that I wanted, or choice I made years ago. It's not balanced. can't wait till my dark hair comes back. um, yeah, I remember that. Really nice people. Really, really nice people helped me. I remember this is like preschool. So I want to say like 5. This is like, AIDS epidemic's real. My pre-kindergarten teacher, pre-K. This is pre-K. I remember I have a ridiculous memory for this, maybe, or maybe I don't. Maybe this is normal to remember this. There was a school I went to that had inner city kids bused to it. Like it was a very expensive private school. They also had inner city kids that were like subsidized by the government. My best friend was black. And my mom did not want him. He's from downtown DC in a bad neighborhood. My mom did not want him to feel anything. We were best friends. I should probably look him up. It'd be interesting. You ever look up at your kids from like a long time ago that you're friends with, like middle school? Seems kind of weird, but I don't know. I haven't done that in a while. I did it like when I was younger in college, like people from middle school, but it'd be interesting. I don't know. Anyway, my mom wanted to make sure that his Christmas, I'm not explaining this well. My mom wanted us to be able to share the experiences of the holidays with each other, knowing that my mom's family, like her circumstances were way better than this young man's, Charlie, I think it was. Charlie, yeah. Charlie he had really long legs. Like really probably played, he was a really good, you could tell he was like limber and like, he just jumped, like he was so athletic then. I can't imagine he was spastic, but like very athletic. I remember this. Remember that game Nomad, like the basic like MS-DOS type game, the floppy disk. I remember all these games. Anyways, my mom bought all these Christmas gifts that I got. She bought the same for him, so that when we got him back from the holidays for school, pre-K, I got the White Ranger. He's like, so did I. I got the soup. I got this thing. I got the Ghostbuster house. So did I. So you could basically just like, oh, that's so cool. My mom did this. That's so cool. My mom was so cool. Why am I talking about this? Oh, yeah. So that is cool. The thing that I remember that that's so that I guess this person's wouldn't feel left out. Imagine that, feeling embittered towards she wanted. It's lovely. I don't even think she told. It's just lovely. What it could. My mom died when she was 55, so I get like a little emotional. I'm talking about some serious things. Anyway, the school. Oh, it was really protective. 1996, I took a Band-Aid. They didn't know where from, and I put it on my mouth, and the teachers freaked out. Like early 90s, and took it off me, and thought it might be like someone else, something from the street, washed out my mouth. Freaked out. Same teacher. I also wrote a swastika on a plane in pre-K that was burning up and falling. Knowing that was a good thing, but I guess the idea of knowing what the swastika was freaked out. My teacher the same teacher got mad at me for that, even though I was like, but that's good. Or I didn't understand maybe from his perspective that that could end up it was why did he do this? He shouldn't know this symbol. Huh. It's also a Egyptian symbol for peace, isn't it? Like a Native American symbol. Anyway, but my depiction of a Nazi's crashing a flaming plane. I don't know. Maybe I watched Schindler's List when I don't know how I knew that. Anyway, what was I don't remember why I was talking about this, but the things that shape you when you're younger. I remember that he was so scared, and it definitely I never wrote swastikas on planes, and I never put Band-Aids on my lips again. I took a Band-Aid and just thought, look, the adhesive, this is interesting. I put them all over my face, and when touch my mouth, and you get freaked out. I remember this vividly, and he scolded me for it. Those pre-K things, I also had a psychiatrist who would take me to lunch, let me know that my parents fighting was not my fault, and asked me about things that happened to me. And he was a good-looking guy, kind of like a movie star, I remember, and he was a child psychiatrist, and it made me feel really good having someone there that wasn't my mom or wasn't my dad. The only issue in this regard is that there's no child advocate outside the parental environment that's on the other side of the token saying, maybe let's wait. It's almost like the FISA court. There is no other proponent that's objective saying, this is the downside potentially, because all the rhetoric and the potential medicine that's counter to the transgender youth transitioning process is considered transphobic. It's also ironic because that could be considered homophobic, because like I think 92% of people that exhibit gender dysphoria end up becoming gay or straight. They grow out of it, which would imply why do it now? Like wait. But again, it's a passability thing. It's for the sake of a superficial sociological trait that is contradictory to the very nature of sex, that these are superficial traits, boobs, that doesn't define you. But in fact it does, because that's the way the panacea for transgender feelings, transgenderism, is superficial surgery. That's the cure.